All right, here we go. March 14th. This is, oh, I think my camera is not working here. Hold on, guys. Let me plug it in. We'll see if that works any better. Should have known I was going to have technical difficulties. There we go. Now we're back in business. All right, so March 14th, this, aside from being my birthday week last week, it's like one of my favorite times of the year because the days start getting longer. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like it when it's dark at 5 o'clock. So we get the days longer and the daylight savings kicks in, and now we're light till 7 o'clock. It just feels like a much more productive time of the year. So I'm all over that. But today we woke up to a little bit of a windstorm, so we're dealing with that. I'm sure that will pass shortly. All right. So let's get into it. Anybody got any questions you want to start off with here?
Yeah, I just wanted to know. I'm creating a squeeze page to promote search AI, internet dominators means basically. So I just want to know what I can write, what I cannot write, because I just don't want to get into trouble. So if anyone has any already created opt-in page or landing page, if I can take a look, or if you tell me what is a good practice, I would like to know that.
Yeah. Basically, what you can do, you can go to the acquisitionair.com site, and most everybody that is doing this, they're basically plucking the information off that site and then just reformatting it. The only thing about the information on the Acquisition Air site is it is branded to Acquisition Air, and it's got the twist to being an airliner. So, but the information is all on there. One of the things that keeps coming up as an objection now is this there's new regulation, and they're calling it A2P, and that is application to person is what that stands for. And it's revolving around the 10 DLC code, which basically all that is a phone number. It's 10-digit long code. So what they're referring to there is a phone number, and they're putting regulations in place to have rules around taking an application and automatically dialing a phone number or texting a phone number. It has nothing to do with email marketing. So far, we're all good with email marketing, but that A to P, that that's basically regulation around the rules about calling and getting permission for texting people. So we really highly recommend that you do not use our system to auto dial and auto text people. The system is made to send cold email to people that we have a very high insight on what they're after. So you send them a cold email, and even though it's cold, they're highly interested. This is as warm or hot of a cold email lead as you're ever going to see. So you send them that initial email, and this is what I tell everybody to do. And the ones that have been doing this and similar have been getting good results. So first thing, this is of key importance. You figure out what is important to them based on what they're searching for. Whatever that is, you're all in different industries, you're all trying different stuff. So I can't give you a one size fits all here. But the one size that fits all is the common denominator is what is important to them is what's going to matter to them. That's going to make the difference whether they open that email or not. If they don't open the email, you're not going to be successful. Your rates are going to suck on open rates, and you're not going to make any money. If you're doing this for clients, you're going to fail those clients and they're going to stop paying you very quickly. So it's very important. I mean, this goes back to the core of the ACT program. Figure out what they want, why they want it. And it's a timeline. I've seen a lot of the really good marketers, they create like this timeline. And where the person is, that's the beginning of the timeline. They're in disrepair, let's say. They want something or they want to get away from something. Whatever it is, that's the place that they are in the timeline. Now, obviously, that's not where they want to be. If that was where they wanted to be, they wouldn't be searching for stuff, right? They wouldn't be actively looking for a solution or whatever it is they're looking for. So that tells you right there they're on a timeline. What you need to figure out is, what does the end of that timeline look like? What is it that they want? You know, they're not where they want to be, or they don't have what they want because they're on the beginning of the timeline. So your job is to figure out, what's the end of that timeline look like? What do they want? What is the outcome they desire? And why do they want it? Why they want it is where the emotion's going to come in. So knowing that, you're going to have even a bigger advantage. Right now, we're giving you a huge advantage just telling you who's looking, right? That is a massive advantage for you. If you don't have that advantage, you're out in a needle in a haystack. You might be trying to do SEO to find the right person. You might be running pay-per-click ads to try and find the right person. You're going to be doing all this stuff. Where with Acquisitionaire, we're just going to tell you who's looking for you, just right out of the gate, plain and simple. We're going to cut to the chase. But that is just the beginning. That's just square one in the process of sales. So we know who they are. We know what they want, or hopefully you know what they want based on who they are and what they're looking for. Now, your job now is to entice them. Now, that's the attention grabber. That's your big idea. And throwing something out there to help them get what they want is probably going to be your best weapon in this toolbox. So offering them something, helping them not make a mistake. What people really want when they want to buy something, when they're looking for a solution, or they're looking to purchase something, I think the biggest key factor in their mind is they want to make sure they're getting the right thing. So what better place for you to show up and help them make that decision? Like, that's why somebody if you go into an electronics shop, right? And you see like all these different TVs on the wall. You know you want a TV, but you don't know which one you want. So what are you going to do? You going to throw darts at a board, or are you going to ask the salesman, what's the best TV? Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what's important to me. You know, maybe I want to sit on the side. In my living room, we've got seating all around. So a side angle view of the screen is going to be important. I don't want one where you go to the side and it blurs out. Which TV is the right one for me? Right? You're asking for assistance, you're asking for guidance, and you're depending on that salesperson to tell you what is the right TV for you. This is no different. I've said this since day one. Whatever works in the real world, you've got to replicate online if you want it to work over here in this world. So be that guide for them, understand what's important to them, and lead them through that process. You get to do, this is a privilege for you as a marketer. You get to set buying criteria. You get to tell them what's important. And by doing that, you're creating a scenario where all roads lead back to your product or your service. So it's like you really need to think this out. You can't just like do this haphazardly and have it work consistently. You might get lucky. I have seen people get lucky and they think they're the greatest marketer in the world. Then they go to try and sell something else and they fall on their face and they don't know why. They have no idea how to replicate the success that they had. So and it all follows the exact same pattern. I don't care if you're selling TVs, mouse traps, diamond engagement rings, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're selling, you've got to do the same thing. You got to figure out who wants it, first of all. Acquisitionaire takes care of that for you. Then you got to figure out what exactly they want, why is this, those are really important things. Again, the why is almost as important, if not more important, than what they want to begin with. Why they want it. That's why they're going to buy it. Right? It's never about the thing. It's always about what the thing does. Like somebody that buys a high-end Ferrari, they don't buy it because it's a fast car, right? They're not buying it to go 200 miles an hour on the freeway. They're buying it for the way people will look at them, for the way people will see them. It's significance. It's pure 100% significance. It's not for the functionality, right? Nobody needs a Ferrari to go to the grocery store, but they want to be seen as the guy getting out of the Ferrari at the grocery store. That's why they'll buy it. That's why they want it. You see how that's so much more important than what it is they wanted? They wanted the Ferrari. And if you try and sell them on the Ferrari for all the features of the car itself, the car is a piece of shit. The car is going to cost them a fortune to keep up. It's going to be a nightmare, right? If you try and sell them on the features of the car, you're going to fail. You're going to talk them out of something that they thought they wanted, right? If you want to sell them that car, you better sell them on what it does, not what it is. It's going to make them feel important. It's going to get them attention. It's going to open up conversations with people they want to talk to. That's what it does. That's how you sell it. So, same thing here. I don't care if you're creating a marketing campaign for a funnel for a webinar, or you're trying to warm up these leads out of Acquisitionaire that you've got. It doesn't matter. You've got to get the process right. So the process that I've been helping a lot of people with in Acquisitionaire is getting that email lead. It's a cold email lead, right? So you've got to be able to grab their attention. So again, you damn well better know what they want, why they want it, so you can get them to open the email. Because if they see the subject line of the email and they can say, so what? Or why does that matter to me? Then you failed. You just flat out failed. So crappy subject lines is going to be the first point of failure. You got to get them to click that thing. Got to get them to open it. And the next thing, once they open it, you don't have a lot of time. You don't have 20 minutes to convince them to take an action. You've got like 3 seconds. So you better get right to the point. You better get right to the point of here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. Call to action. So, and again, I can't tell you what that is for your business because this is not a one size fits all solution. It's a one size fits all recipe. You've got to figure out if you want a chocolate cake or a strawberry cake and put in the right ingredients, but the recipe remains the same, right? It's grab attention, get that email opened, get a call to action, get the ball rolling, start the communication. And the communication should go something like this. I've got this really cool thing. I think it will help you get what you want. Here's how to get it. Now with email, here's something important. If you're going to be doing cold email, is your email reputation. If you send out a bunch of email and no one responds, your email reputation is going to go down. That means less and less emails are going to get delivered over time. So it's very important to create that two-way communication with your email. So don't give them a link. Tell them what you've got and ask them to respond to you if they'd like a link. Say, I've got this really cool thing. All you got to do, just reply back to me if you're interested. I'm happy to send you the link to it. Right now, they're going to respond and say, hey, yeah, that sounds really good. Could you send that to me? Or they'll just send you, I've seen this in a lot of cases. They'll just send you a hell yeah. That's all they respond with is hell yeah. So now you respond back and you say, cool, I'm really glad that you've asked for this. This has helped a lot of people. Here's the link. All you have to do is click on it and just tell them what they need to do. Right? Be helpful to them. Be like the guy that's selling them the TV in the electronics store. Give them all the benefits, not just the one. Get them to take that action. And then once you give them the first thing, follow up again and give them something more. Give them something more than you promised them originally. Frank Kern calls this stacking the cool. You're already cool because you're there to help them. You haven't asked them for anything. You're just here to provide good information to help them make a decision or help them not make a mistake, right? They don't want to make mistakes. So you might offer them something like, hey, if you're looking for life insurance, there's a couple things you should know. There's a lot of scams out there. Not all life insurance policies are created equal. If you just know these two things, you will be golden when you're buying life insurance. You'll get exactly what you need. You'll get the value you're looking for, and everything will be handled, right? I created this really easy PDF that answers those two major questions. If you're interested, just let me know. I'm happy to send it to you. It should be something just like that. And then once you send it to them, you send it to them, you say, here it is. I hope this helps you. And by the way, I did like a free, or no, don't say free, say I did like a 15-minute video that tells you everything you need to know about choosing the right insurance broker and the right insurance company to make sure that you really get the life insurance that you need. Don't, because you know damn well if they're buying life insurance, they're not buying it for themselves, right? Nobody buys life insurance for themselves. They've got somebody they want to take care of. That's the why. That's the what they want it for. So if you scare them and say, hey, so many people buy this, and they're trying to protect their children and their wife, and after they're dead, it's too late to figure out that, hey, it didn't work. So you just wasted your effort, your time, your money, and you didn't do what you wanted to do, which was protect the ones that you love, right? You're tapping into emotion. That's on the fear of making a mistake. So when you get somebody leveraged into that position, they are really going to want what you have because you're going to help them, right? So whether you're doing it on a fear-based thing, it doesn't matter. Just figure out what's important to them and figure out the right pry bar to to pry your way into the communication pattern with them. That's what you're trying to do. So, and again, it doesn't matter what you're selling, doesn't matter how much it costs. None of that matters. The thing that matters is that you open that conversation and you give them what they need and you give them more than they ask for. So the fact that you gave them what they wanted to begin with, which was the two things they need to know to not get ripped off, now you're giving them a 15-minute video that you created to help people just like them protect their loved ones, right? Because that's really what they're there for when they buy life insurance. So you're giving them everything. You're giving them more, more and more and more. So now what you're doing is you're building trust. Now, this is the same thing with these email sequences from these cold email prospects. You have to build the trust if you want to sell them something. You've got to open that communication. You got to give them what they need, give them what they want, stack the cool, give them more than they anticipated, and just help them. If you just show up to try and sell them something, the guard's going to go up. You're not going to build trust and rapport with them, and they're just going to see you as icky. Yeah, it's going to be like walking onto a used car lot. You're like, oh my God, here they come.
John, I have a question. Uh, the this what you're saying to me rings very, very true, because these leads are more B2C than B2B, is sort of a general rule. If we're selling these leads to B2B though, um, I suspect that what you're just talking about was not when you were first talking to business owners, when this new interwebs thing was coming around. How do, because it's not for business owners, it does not seem parallel for the same as consumers, because businesses have a completely different mindset. They're there for a different reason. I mean, it seems like there's a whole lot of stuff different, and business owner isn't going to want some little thing or this little thing. They got a problem. They have to solve the problem. Boom, 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 boom. You know, that's a different mindset than consumers, it seems to me. Please dissuade me of my errant idea if that's where I am, or what's the adjustment for a business owner, as if you were selling this back when you very first started doing the SEO, because SEO was brand new, it didn't exist before. This is brand new and didn't exist before, so there's more of a parallel there than, we have a great weight loss diet and you look good, at your senior,
Yeah, no, so that's the reason that I said there's not a one size fits all for the ingredients to this cake. But the recipe for the cake is identical whether it's a B2B or a B2C. It really doesn't matter, because even if it's a business owner and you're trying to sell something to a business owner that's a business service, it's the same thing. They want something. They're on a timeline. They're not in the place they want to be. They want to be somewhere else. So, like in SEO, the way that I looked at them on the timeline in SEO was they were losing customers to competitors and they didn't really know why. So my first thing was to get them to understand what their problem was, because they didn't know. They had FOMO. They saw this thing they didn't understand, this interwebs thing, as you called it. They didn't understand it. So here I'm showing up as somebody that has insight into what they want. So that made me very appealing. I never spoke to them about SEO. I never spoke to them about sales. What I did was I had a conversation about something that was incredibly important to them, which was their customers. And then, I've said this many times. I've kind of walked through this scenario of how I used to sell SEO. I would sit down at the table with the business owner, and in many cases, his tech team and whoever else was at the table, and I would direct my question to the business owner, because the business owner is the one that's going to authorize and write the check. That's my real customer. It's not the tech guy that I'm going to work with. I'm going to get the guy at the head of the table to say yes. So he is my customer. So I'm going to ask him a question that's very near and dear to his heart. Is, if I could bring you your most ideal, valuable, precious customer, who would that be? Like, if I could bring you one guy that would just like change the course of your next year, tell me about that person. Like, who is that? What do they buy? Why do they want it? All of this stuff. So now I've just put the burden of the presentation on him. And I just shut up, sit there and listen. And he tells me who he's looking for. And then once he's done, I don't interrupt him at all. I let him get it all out on the table. When he's done, I ask him another question. And I've got like 3 questions to this sequence. The second question is, oh, well, what do you think that guy would type in if he sat down in front of the search box? If he went to Google looking for you or what you offer, what do you think he would type in? Now, this guy has given me the keywords. He's telling me what his ideal customer is going to search for. And then at that point, I know I can almost count on there's a computer in the room. And I, whether it's in front of him or in a desk behind him or whatever, I move him to the in front of that computer and I said, let's try something here. I'm curious. And I'm playing dumb. I said, I'm curious. Let's find out what would happen. And I let him key that keyword into Google, and up come the results. And now here's the really cool part. I lean in like I'm looking over his shoulder and I'm head to head with him, just side by side. We're looking at the same screen. And I act like surprised. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. Do you recognize any of these people? And I already know the answer to the question. It's all his competitors. Of course he recognizes them. He also just discovered he's not there. I just took him on a guided tour of his worst nightmare. This is why, this just answered his own internal question for why his business is going downhill and his customer or his competitors are going up. Right? I just ripped a massive hole in this guy, and now it's a good time to offer him a band-aid. Right? In most cases, I don't even have to go into a sales pitch. At this point, he's asking me, how do we fix this? How do we get me here? Right? It's the same recipe. I'm talking about what's important to him, why it's important to him. And, if I wanted to really dig into the emotion, I'd say, man, if you were on top of here, you'd probably never have to worry about covering your payroll ever again. Because I know damn well that's top of mind. If his business is going down, he's got payroll to cover every Friday. That's what he goes to bed at night thinking, oh my God, this could be horrible. What's going to happen to me if I can't cover payroll? What's going to happen if the employees walk off? What's going to happen to my business? What's going to happen to my family? What's going to happen to my significance, to my children? You want to get into his emotion. There it is. It's no different than a consumer sale. It's just the ingredients are different. It's the same timeline. It's just a different place he is in what he wants. I can guarantee you it's going to come down to the same recipe every time, whether it's a business to business or business to consumer. People buy things based on what they believe they need to get what they believe they want. And sometimes they don't even know. Like the case of this guy, I took him on a guided tour to discover. He did a self-discovery process of his own problem, and he also discovered the solution. And who's standing right next to him? The guy that can solve his problem, the one that took him on the tour. Right? I never tell him he did something wrong. I never tell him, oh, you got a problem. You're not listed in Google. I let him discover his own problem. I don't want to come in and be combative. I don't want to beat him over the head and club him and say, look, you dummy, this is why your business is failing. I let him discover that and then come back to me and ask for help. This is what they call the Good Samaritan test. If they ask you for help, they believe that you can help them. That is incredibly important. That is incredibly significant. Think about that. They call that the Good Samaritan test because if you find a guy that's stranded on the side of the highway, right? He can't solve his problem or he would have already, right? He needs help. So if you show up and you've got the tools to change his tire and you've done it before, you have just demonstrated that you are the one that can help him. You've created the belief in him that, hey, this guy can help. I'm going to ask him for the help. That's the Good Samaritan test. So if you can position yourself in their mind to believe that you can help them, you just locked it up. You just prevented any competitor from ever entering the game. So the thing is, you've got to get them to ask you for help. So taking them on a guided tour of the problem, demonstrating that you have solved this problem in the past. Remember Benjamin Franklin's thing. Every objection is based on a belief. If you want them to purchase from you, you have to change the belief in the objection to a belief to buy. So the belief in the objection is I can't, it won't work. Whatever it is, it's a negative belief. So when you can turn the negative belief into a positive belief, then they will buy from you. They will ask for your help because they believe you can help them. If they don't believe you can help them, you are never going to sell to them. They will never ask you for help if they don't believe you can help them. So that right there, this is a way that you need to start thinking. You need to start thinking of, first of all, you have to convince yourself that you can help them. Anybody that is coming across soft, they're not going to believe you can help them. You need to come across as an absolute warrior. You can't go up to the guy with the flat tire and say, I got some weird tools in my car. I don't know if they'll work or not. We might put this jack, it might fall down and crush your rims. That guy's going to say, I'll wait for the next guy. Thank you for stopping, right? He is not going to ask you for help. If you're not sure and confident in yourself, no one is going to buy from you. If they ask you a question and you hesitate, you are blowing it. You are just you're letting the air out of your confidence balloon. That thing needs to be full. You literally need to be full of hot air when you're talking to somebody. If you're going to show, that's your confidence balloon, right? Don't let the air out of it. If you do, it's not going to do its job, right? You have to be absolutely confident in your capabilities if you want someone to trust that you can help them. And I don't care if you don't know how to do it. You better come across as though you did. So, and this is with anything. This is with anything. I can't tell you how many things that I have sold or been commissioned to do that I had no idea how I was going to do it. Do you think they knew that? You think they knew that when they told me, yeah, go ahead, let's do this. Sign on the dotted line. Here's the check. Do you think they would have done that if they thought I didn't know how to do it? They would not. Half of the things I've done in my life, I would have not had the opportunity to do if I didn't walk in with my confidence balloon full to the brim. At least half, probably more like 90%. If I didn't walk in with full confidence into every situation, every room, every person I've ever met, if I didn't do that, I would probably be working for someone and I wouldn't have 90% of what I have in my life. I wouldn't be near as happy as I am. And, quite honestly, I probably wouldn't even be here. I don't know. I don't know where I'd be. But, I've been kind of hitting on this over the last month or two in the calls because, so many people they're failing on that confidence issue. That is really important. If you're building a sales page and you're not just confident about, here's the recipe, I've got this, they have to be able to relax and know that you're going to take care of them. If they're scared, if they're in ether, they're not going to be confident with you. They're not going to be happy. They're probably not going to buy. They have to know that they can relax and you got this. So that's really important. If you're presenting face to face, it's much harder to do than it is online. It's really easy for us to build confidence and all that on a webinar where we're just speaking into a prompter or, a camera or whatever, knowing that, we're not really in a room with this live person and they're not really going to, there's a lot of fear. A lot of people have the fear of face to face, especially if they don't have the confidence. That can, that can really be a terrifying thing. So online, this is like leveled the playing field. This has allowed people that are introverted, people that are shy, people that normally would never do what they're doing online. It's given them that opportunity because they can do it in the privacy and the security and safety of their own home, their own office, their garage, their boat, wherever they're at. They can create sales mousetraps, and it really is just about learning the system. I got to tell you, like in the very beginning, I was not comfortable at all of being in front of people and speaking to groups and all that stuff. I really was not comfortable with it. And I found that it was so nice to be able to do things online because I didn't have to worry about that. In a lot of cases, in the very beginning, when I would do live presentations, I would make sure that I would control the room. And I would always like make a presentation I could show over a projector. And I wasn't comfortable with their all eyes on me. So I would put all eyes on the projector screen. And then I would speak to them from the back of the room, which I was very comfortable with. Nobody's looking at me. I'm just talking. So that's how I did it in the very beginning. It was what I was comfortable with, and it worked really well. I was really good at answering the questions. So I'd do the presentation from the back. Then when the presentation was done, I would come around to the front of the room and say, anybody got any questions? And I could do the question, the Q&A, no problem. That was what I was comfortable with. So that worked really well for me. So, if that's you, if you're not comfortable in front of a group of people, you can build webinars like piece of cake. There's no pressure, you're doing it and then you put it out and people can watch it and you can watch the results. You can say, hey, a lot of people fell off 15 minutes in. So you go back, you look at the presentation, you say, okay, why 15 minutes in are they dropping off? And then you fix it and you do it again. Maybe they're going to 20 or 25 minutes now, and then they're dropping off. So you look at it, you say, okay, where's the problem? Where's the bottleneck? And in most cases, you're going to find that where they're dropping off is when you start going into the weeds. You're going into stuff that doesn't matter. You need to stay away from the shit that doesn't matter. Like you start going into all the features of the thing. Remember, features is what it is, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about all that. They don't care about the intricacies. They don't care about, a 20-minute story of how you discovered this thing. All they care about is what it does, what's important to them, and how do they get it. So you'll probably find if you look at your presentation and they're dropping off at that point, you're going to probably discover, oh, hell, I took them in the weeds. So just back it up, weed the field, throw the weeds out and do it again. Eventually you'll fine tune a presentation and you'll get it nailed down. Like when I started talking about acquisition error, it was a 15-minute conversation and it was all good. But by the time we got to TNC and I knew, okay, I don't have time for a 15-minute conversation with 100 people a day. So I blew it down to like 2 minutes. I threw all the weeds out the window and I figured out these are the only things that are really important. This is all I'm going to say. And it worked really well. So less is more. Believe it or not, I see these internet marketers that go on for an hour, 2 hours with these freaking presentations, and they are so far down the weeds. The only thing they've got going for them, well, they got a couple of things going for them. One, most of them are really, really freaking good salespeople of snake oil. that that is one thing a lot of them have in common. Uh, the other thing is they have this ability to position this thing as exactly what you want, and they keep you right on the edge. They don't really have to, though. They could be selling what they've got for sale in a matter of 10 minutes, but they're going to stretch you out for an hour. And there's reasons for doing that. I can see there's clear reasons for that, and it is effective. I can tell you that it is effective for a certain type of people, but there's others that it's not effective for. And again, it's back to that whole thing of it's a recipe, but I can't tell you the ingredients to bake your cake. One of the things I can tell you is price makes a huge difference as how far you have to go in your presentation. If you're selling something for $47 and they're gonna spend an hour to make a $47 decision, you're probably gonna lose a lot of people. You're probably gonna lose a tremendous amount of people before you even get to the offer, right? If you've got a $2,000 program and you try and get them to buy it in 2 minutes, you're probably not going to be very successful. You have to overcome a lot more objections to sell a $2,000 thing than a $47 thing. The other thing that we have found in this is high ticket items sell to a certain type of person versus low ticket items. And one thing that I can tell you, a person that is a high ticket buyer values their time exponentially more than somebody that is a low ticket buyer. And I fall into that category. I'm a high ticket buyer. If you've got something that is really good, I don't care how much it costs. If I'm going to get value out of it, I don't care how much it costs. What I care about is how long it's going to take me to listen to your crap. If I get to sit there for an hour or two, I'm probably not interested. Right? And from a salesperson, like here's a perfect example. This was about 2 months ago. I was driving home and I get a call and I recognized who it was. It was somebody that did merchant accounts, and they're what's called high risk merchant accounts. Now, I have a call for high risk merchant accounts for some of my customers. Every once in a while, I'll get somebody that loses their credit card merchant processor and they can't get a processor, or it's high risk, or, it's in marijuana or, adult content or whatever. But there's this classification that's really hard for business owners that get pigeonholed into this to get a merchant account. So this was a high risk merchant account provider. He called me. I saw him on the phone. I said, okay, I need to talk to this guy. All I was interested in, I was already sold. I knew that I wanted to offer that service as an affiliate. So I told the guy, which I had already talked to him prior. That's why he was calling me. I said, all I need from you is the links that I can put on my website to send through to be tracked for the affiliate. Can you do that? He said, yes, we can do that. I can have my dev team do that and send them to you. I was done with the conversation. I'm like, cool, just do that. I'll look for the email. I'll put those links in my site, and that's what I need, right? For me, problem solved. I'm done. I'm sold. Inside of 2 minutes, I was sold. He got what he wanted, which was my business. I got what I wanted, was his affiliate links. It was over. It was done. And now I want to get off the phone, right? This fucking guy kept me on the phone for 45 minutes. And uh, not short of 30 times, I told him, dude, I got to go. I'm not interested in listening to the pitch. I already know what you do. I got it. I understand. And he just kept going. He's trying to get me to send him my statements so he can get my business. I'm like, dude, I don't need your high rates. What do you not understand? I'm doing this so I can get this to my customers that need you. I don't need you. And basically, at the end of that call, I finally hung up on him. I said, look, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to hang up on you because I need to go now. You have nothing left for me to, there's nothing left for either of us to say. And I hung up and I got the email. I threw it away. It's like, I am never going to talk to this dickhead again, ever, under any circumstances. Right? He completely blew his opportunity to get some good business from me. But it's never going to happen. He has called probably 4 or 5 times. I finally just blocked his number. He will never have an opportunity to talk to me again, ever, under any circumstances. So that's what I'm talking about. Don't be that guy. Take whatever time it takes to get done what you need to get done and do it. Move on. So Ray, go ahead. You got your hand up?
Yeah, just that kind of accent on that is, one of my many different coaches over the years, but always says that once you get a yes, shut up.
Yeah,
Shut
exactly.
up. Just shut up and move on, right? Or whatever it needs. Okay, let's get the paperwork and move on. It's like, yeah, you see that, and I agree completely with that. As we talk way too much, salespeople talk way too much and listen way too little.
Yeah, absolutely. And my whole point to that was what we've discovered now with high ticket buyers. If you're doing a webinar, in a webinar for a high ticket item, you need to have it 45 minutes to an hour and a half. But here's the problem. The high ticket buyers value their time so much, they're not going to sit through a 45-minute or an hour webinar. They're just not going to do it, but they will sign up for it. They will sign up for your webinar, but they will not show up to it. And what they're doing, they're raising their hand and says, yeah, I really want what you got, but you're not going to do that to me to get it. That's what they're saying. They're signing up. So here's what the guys are doing that have been really, really successful. When they get somebody that signs up for a high-end, high-ticket webinar, they call them. They first call them and they say, hey, I see you signed up for the webinar. I get that this is going to be a long webinar, and if you're interested, I'll let you skip to the front of the line. If you know you want it, I'll just let you sign up right here now. And then they'll ask you a couple questions. You answer the questions, you've resolved any objections they might have, and they'll probably sign up right there within a few minutes. Right? That's and for me, I guarantee you want to sell me a high ticket item, that's your best path. Call me up and just tell me you're going to save me from sitting through 45 minutes of boredom. And we're just going to cut to the chase. Here's what I've got. Here's what it'll do for you. Here's all you have to do next. And I'll probably be in. Right. And that's what some of the really, really smart high-end marketers that are making a lot of money have discovered. They wondered, they're like, oh my God, I got all these opt-ins for my webinar, but nobody showed up. The only ones that showed up are the low ticket guys that are not going to buy the high ticket thing. So they made no sales. And when they figured this key piece out, they started selling like hotcakes. So they still did the webinar, Didn't matter if anybody showed up or bought, they did the webinar just because they had to do it. Now they've got the recording. And now they can say to the guy on the phone, they can say, look, the thing that is important to you is like 30 minutes on the webinar. Just skip to that, listen to that section, call me back, and we'll place the order. Saving them time, helping them out to avoid pain, because for a high ticket guy, sitting through wasting time is pain. It's pain at the highest level because you're never going to get that time back. Right? A high ticket guy can make all the money he wants, but he can't make any more time. So if you know that, and here it's back to the analysis, it's understanding who you're talking to, what's important to them, and why. If they have that mindset and they've discovered that they only have so much time, and that's the most important thing in their life, that right there, you now understand what's important to them and why. And now you can use that to your advantage. So again, it's the same recipe. It's just different ingredients to build a different cake. You got to figure out who you're feeding. What flavor do they like? And then build them the cake that they want. Right? So Anna, go ahead.
Hey, how are you today?
Awesome. How's it going?
Good. Good. So, a couple things. One, I think that guy, Mr. 45 minutes hang up waster dude, um, he doesn't get any money from giving you affiliate links. I think he was on the phone like you were thinking to capture your business, but he didn't want to stop talking because I don't think him doing that is revenue producing for him. And that was a mistake because he could have just said, hey, I'll get you those links. In a month or so, can I give you a call and blah, like he should have tried to, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he didn't have a transition. He's what I call slam and bam. You know what I mean? They just, you walk into the used car lot. Well, are you looking at a Mercedes? Or are you looking at a Ford? And they have the same sales pitch regardless of the name of the car. And you're
Yeah.
like, I know you've said this for like 35 years straight, and it didn't work 35 years ago. It doesn't work now,
Yeah.
So yeah, so he thought he had you as a captive audience, right? And that he could just keep talking so you would just buy. And I agree with you that many marketers, like, they just keep talking until people will buy. It's like on those webinars, they try to wear you out. And they don't understand people like me would just, we'll just hang up. We don't care. It's like, well, I'll listen to it on 2 times speed later,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have time for this, and I don't want to have time for this, So from something you said last week, and I'd have to listen again to figure out what it was, but I got sorry, I got a referral, and these people do like tree surgeons, right? But they also then chump the wood and turn it into mulch for you, and all that kind of, so they're like a landscaper, but they're really a tree surgeon. So um anyway, the guy's like going crazy, and he spent all this money on Angie's List and Yelp and whatever, and I'm like, oh my god. So I definitely got, from listening to you, I got the exact numbers he was spending. And I said, do you have to continue Yelp? Because we have another way to do this that's a lot better. But and he's like, well, I'm not under any contract. I'm like, well, when was the last time you paid them? Of course, it was last month. And then I was like, can you not pay them now so that you can, pay us to actually get some quality leads? But he actually told me far worse than I thought. He pays them like $8.90 a month, and then $25. Sorry, yeah, $25 for crap leads every week, between 15 to 20 crap leads, and closes like one a month.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's that they're selling it to multiple people, right? Because he's like, I get back with them right away, and they say, oh yeah, your people are here now, and I'm my people, I'm not there. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
They're selling it to multiple. So
Yeah.
then he's telling me the long song and dance, which, like you said, you listen to them and you might ask them a question about what they're saying, but you don't interrupt them. They need to have their whole
Mhm.
time to explain everything to you. And then he's like, well, and I don't know what you could do. So many people said they could do SEO. So many people said they could do a website. I paid $5,800, blah, 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 blah. And he's going on. And then, and he's like, I don't know what you could do. He's like, but I need help. And blah, 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 blah. And then I said, okay, so you want help with this now, right? And then he started and launched on another, I wouldn't say tirade, but I mean, like, he's upset, right? And he just
Yeah.
is confused. And then he's explaining how he's not a computer person. I'm like, that's because you're a tree person, right? And he's like, yeah. So then I said to him, which brings back to your point last week, which is, so do you want me to do something about that? Do you want help from us with this sort of thing? Can you stop paying Angie's List? Can you stop paying Yelp and getting nothing in return? And he's like, yes, I want your help. But it's like I had to keep asking him to and there was like a different emotional state on the phone, between when he was, I don't want to say griping, but he was like unleashing all of this built up, I'm sure, like I'm being screwed and I don't know what else to do about it, right?
Yeah.
But once he knew that I was going to help him, he then said, okay, so, so I trust you and you have to help me now, right? That's when I knew it was like, cha-ching.
Yeah.
So
That's the Good Samaritan test. He believed you could help him and he was asking you for help.
yeah, and I think sometimes you have to keep pressing that, which is more uncomfortable for kind of an analytical, more shy, more introverted person, which I think we kind of all are, especially when like we're asking for trust and money and all that. But um,
Well, it's really easy. Like, I get this. I get being uncomfortable about asking for the order. And
mhm.
Eric Lawful, I learned this from Eric Lawful. He said the easiest way to close anything is once you feel you've made your presentation and they should be sold, all you have to do is just ask them, does this sound like something you want to move forward with? That's really easy.
I didn't say that, but I said something close.
Yeah, that's
I
an
don't,
easy thing
yeah,
to say. It's an easy question. And basically, like with Eric, he had a recipe for closing. And his closing recipe was simply that. He said, you ask if they would like to move forward, or does this sound like something you want to move forward with? Any way you want to put it doesn't matter, but then you don't say anything. You wait.
yeah,
And they'll either say yes, no, or they'll ask another question. Or
yeah.
they'll
Or they'll say yes, but
yeah,
then they've got the objections of
yeah.
like, how many
And
leads is it going to be, or how much.
yeah, and those aren't really those are buying questions. Those are
Yeah,
not objections. That means you got them. So the other thing, the problem is if they say no. If you ask them if they want to move forward with this and they say no, then his recipe for that is what's holding you back. And what you're doing there is you're asking what his objection is or what her objection is.
mm-hmm.
And what they say on the first round is really, it's not the real thing.
It's the non tried and true. It's their
Yeah, they're giving
standard, like,
you,
I have to ask my wife, I have to ask my husband.
yeah, it's
Like,
not the real thing. It's not the real
what
thing.
does
It's
your
just
wife have to do with a tree?
yeah, it's an excuse. It's an
Yeah.
excuse to not say yes. So when you get that out, he said that's not the real one, so don't even bother with that. Ask them this after they've given you the first objection. Say and be empathetic. Say, okay, I totally get it. Wives are important. If that's what it was. Wives are important. I get it. Happy wife, happy life. be totally empathetic to whatever they say, even if it's total bullshit.
Mhm.
But then say, other than that, is there anything else that would be holding you back? If she said, hell yeah, let's do this, is there anything else that would be holding you back? And now you're going to get the real objection. This is going to bring out the real thing that there is their true objection. And once they give you that one, you do it again. You repeat the recipe till there's nothing left in their tank. Say, other than that, again, you be empathetic to it. And other than that, is there anything else? And once they're all out on the table and they say, nope, that's really it. Those two things, that's all. That's the reasons I'm not going to move forward with this. So now what you can do, now the objections are out on the table, you go back, you readdress the objections with Benjamin Franklin's formula to reverse the beliefs that have created the objections. And then once you're there, again, you move back to the initial question of, now that you understand, would you like to move forward? And almost always you'll turn a no to a yes in a very, very easy, non-offensive way.
Yeah.
So that's it. Like the guy that would kept me on the phone, he was not addressing my objections at all. He was ignoring them. He was just trying to bulldoze me into doing what he wanted, even though I knew that was not going to happen. I knew why he wanted my statements, so he could show me how I was paying more money than his, and I knew that wasn't true. And I wasn't going to go through the hassle of digging up my statements and sending it to him and then getting back on the phone for another 45-minute conversation about them. That just wasn't going to happen in this lifetime. So,
Yeah.
but it's really easy. Like, I know a lot of people have that hesitation, like when it comes to the money question. Like, you'll get this question a lot of, what's the cost? And if that question comes up and you go back on your heels and you're like, oh, well, and you're not certain of it, you're not confident, that's not going to give them confidence to buy from you. So you gotta know your stuff, or at least seem like you know your stuff. And if you are, you'll probably do really well. And it's the same thing when you digitize. When you figure out how to do this in the real world, and then you come back around and you digitize it, you're really just taking what's already worked and you're just making it automated. Like if you say something a certain way to, a certain type of person, and okay, this worked. And then you do it on another one and it works and it works and it works. Now it's time to lay it down and record it. It's just like a musician. A musician will spend hours and days and weeks, and in some cases, even months, trying to get a song right, trying to get the lyrics right, trying to get the melodies right, trying to get everything right, the chorus, everything. There's a lot of moving parts in a song, right? And once they figure it out and they do it a couple of times and it works and it works and it works the same today as it did yesterday, now it's time to go into the recording studio and let's lay it down and make $1 million. That's the same thing with your sales process. Spend that time, spend those hours, spend toil getting it perfect. And I say that I say that toil and get it perfect, but then that is in direct conflict with another thing I want to tell you is you're better off to do something than do nothing, to move forward. And you don't have to have everything perfect to be selling your stuff, right? Like in my case, I've sold all kinds of shit I've never even built before. So was it perfect? No, it wasn't even real. But I sold it and then I delivered on it. And then I spent time after the fact knowing, oh, I can sell a lot of this, then I can perfect it. So you don't use that it's not perfect as an excuse to not do anything. Do something. and that will give you results. That something is part of your process of getting it perfect. You know, it's like the song. We'll use the song as an example. Even though the song is not perfect and you haven't decided, yeah, it's time to lay it down and record it yet, doesn't mean you can't go out on the street corner and play it for some people and see how it worked, see if they like it, see if they cheer it on, see if they give you feedback. You know, if they boo you off the stage, you go, oh well, I don't, yeah, I better I better try this again.
Well, it's kind of like that Dolly Parton song, right? I Will Love You Forever or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it was in Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that song she wrote as a like when she was basically firing her manager, right? She's like, I'm always gonna love you, but we're done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought that was a perfect song. I mean, that is like one of the best songs ever. But Whitney Houston, right? The way she sang it and it being in that My Bodyguard movie and all that other stuff,
Yeah.
she made more money. Dolly Parton made more money off of Whitney Houston singing it than she ever would have just herself,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, even if you think it's perfect, or maybe this version is perfect, that doesn't mean that it's always perfect forever, So go re
Yeah.
record, test it, figure it out. But I do understand your point. Like, take what works in the real world
Yeah.
and especially the objections, like handle the objections in the sales pitch so that you're not later, so it's already somewhat addressed in people's minds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
If you do it in the real world and it doesn't work, pretty good odds it's not going to work in the online world too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you have a song that absolutely sucks and nobody's going to like it, and you play it for an audience on the street corner and they'll boo you off the street corner and throw shit at you. It's
Or the
probably not
coffee
gonna,
shop manager's like, you can go now. It's okay.
yeah, it's probably that song's probably not going to do any better if you go lay it down in a recording studio.
True. True.
So if it doesn't work in the real world, then don't expect it to work in the online space. And the other thing is be very careful of who you're getting your results from. I see this a lot in mastermind groups. Somebody will go in and they'll share their idea and everyone will cheer them on and say, that's awesome, you should do that. And it's not your core audience. And, they'll all say, yeah, I would buy that. That would be cool. So now you go and you spend a bunch of time creating it and you bring it back to them and nobody buys it. All these people that said, yeah, I'd buy that. That would be awesome. They tuck their head down and they avoid you when you've done the hard work and brought it back to them. So that really sucks. So I always put things out there, if they raise their hand with their checkbook in it, then they're telling me, yeah, I'll buy that and sell it to them, even though it's not done. And then worry about how you're going to get it to them later. If the right amount of people will do that, that is your only validation that this is going to sell. Don't take it on their word because they're full of shit.
Yeah. Also, your comments about confidence, right? Like, number one, it builds confidence that you're taking people's money. So you're going to make sure, say, like site pop is going to happen, right? You're going to
Yeah.
make sure. And I think this is the mistake that people have in themselves is that they're thinking that they're going to do all the work and they don't know how to do every single piece of it when they get an agreement from someone. Like, I don't know how to use your acquisition air yet. I'm
Yeah.
going to the thing tomorrow you're having, and I'm trying to do one of them now, trying to do it for a client. But
Yeah.
I don't really know all the steps and everything, but I know that if someone is paying me, I'm going to make it happen without a doubt. And if I can't do it, I'm going to get someone who can.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah.
even before there was Fiverr, there was the Philippines, right? But
That's right.
there's also stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads that would love a little extra piece of business,
Mhm.
So I think being confident that you're the type of person that's going to make it happen no matter what is,
Yeah.
I don't think that's really discussed. And I don't think you realize how you need it for business, because how can that person go back to their company or manager and say, well, we spent $10,000 and it didn't work, but you know, probably it would have worked. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like they feel on the chopping block.
Yeah.
So of course they want to go with someone who is like, "Oh, we can help you and we're going to help you no matter what. Come hell or high water, we're helping you." And then they're like, "Okay, they can always defend that they didn't spend all this company money for nothing." So, I think
Yeah.
that's where people get caught in that confidence trap.
Yeah. Confidence is pretty much 90% of business.
John, can I
Yeah.
jump in here? Because I started in sales in 1972, got into real estate. And if I was going to go into real estate, I was going to learn real estate. Man, I could quote amortization tables. And this was in Southern California. If it's 1972 in Southern California in the same sentence doesn't ring a bell for you, that was the year my dad's little shack on the waterfront in Newport went from 117,000 to 2.3 million in that year.
Yeah.
During that year, in that market where real estate was going up at $1,000 a week, I sold one home in that year. On the other hand, there was this gal that had just come up from South America, and she spoke not good English, but what you like at this house? You like just sign up that line right there. You sign my broker, fill out paperwork. You love house. She was selling 6 houses a month, so
Wow.
it's not even about. There's no from that. It just hit me like this because I'm dealing with right now how to craft that right sale, and it's like no, just get out. She didn't know basic that she managed to get her shoes on in the morning was amazing, but she could sell a house just because she was so excited. She didn't know anything, but her brokers knows how to do it. And that's
Hey,
enthusiasm will even
when you put your text in Chat GPT to rewrite it, do that. Say an enthusiastic, like Tony Robbins tone, or you know what I'm saying? Because you're right. A lot of what sells is the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just being convinced, but being really enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
That's a
And then
great point.
and being able to say it very, very convincingly. I mean, like this chocolate pudding here, if you eat this every day, you're going to lose 14 pounds in 3 days. I guarantee it.
well,
If you
what you
do it while you're
said there,
jumping up and down, you'll even get them more excited.
what you said there, Richard, about the Brazilian woman, that was a key component. Is none of the details matter. You sign on the line and my people take care of it. Right? That right there, like just ask Brady, how many people have I onboarded? No, I get him in the door and pass him off, and I'm like, hey, Brady's going to handle you. He's going to take good care of you. That's not me. That's not the best spend of my time. The best spend of my time is out getting affiliates to pile in, all of their customers in here. So Brady and Connie stay busy. It's, that's the best use of my time, is to get those people to say yes, not for me to go in and figure out all the nuances of our dashboard and how to walk you through all that stuff. So that is a perfect example of that woman getting all excited, and you say, yeah, sign on the line, the world is great, and my team's going to take care of you. That's the thing. If you don't get the sale, nothing happens beyond that. You could have the best machine in the world and it can sit there idle and not ever do anything. You got to feed it those sales to get the wheels turning. But that was awesome, and you did that very well. That imitation of her, that was awesome. I could literally see that woman as you were doing that.
Yeah, and the point was, it's so frustrating because we'd do sales where this young couple comes in and I said, look at right now, and I'm quoting all the facts and figures and stuff. I say, look, if you like this house right here, this is one of 3 houses. if you like it, buy it now because you won't be able to affect it next week. And she says, well, I don't know. My baby's room should be pink, not blue. So we're going to go look for another house. And they come back the next week and they couldn't qualify the next week. So they were priced out of the market because I was an incompetent salesperson. And I really, I don't know whatever happened to them, but that's really damaging to other people. If you step up and you say you can do a thing and then you can't do it, and then because of you, they now lose an opportunity. That's really kind of hard to swallow sometimes.
Yeah. You just gotta make sure that you are willing to hand off what you don't know how to do. Because here's one thing I can assure you. Anything you don't know how to do, there's somebody that does, and they would be happy for you to pass that to them. That becomes your job, not figuring it out, but figuring out who to pass it to. That's a much more important use of your time, because you do that once and now you have a machine. You can just pass those through one after another. Now you got a conveyor belt and you just feed the conveyor belt. But if you stop and you go, oh God, I got to be an expert at this, or you go, oh my God, I got to learn SendGrid before I can sell this, you're never going to sell anything. You're going to just go from one thing to the next, make an excuse after excuse of I got to learn this and I got to learn that and I got to do all this stuff, when that's not the truth. What you need to do is you need to learn how to sell your stuff, not how to do all the other things that you can pass off. There's other people that don't know how to sell, but they know how to do the stuff. And here is a perfect example of that. Look at how many people work in the workforce versus how many people are successful business owners. I'm not going to say entrepreneurs. I'm going to say business owners, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs that entrepreneurs are creative people. They come up with great ideas, but in a lot of cases, they never make any money. And I don't want you to fall into that. I want you to be creative. I want you to be entrepreneurial, but I want you to be a businessman. And a businessman runs his business. He doesn't flip the burgers.
Okay, so you said look at the two, but then not what do I look at? What's your point?
What was that again?
Well, you said look at the two and then I'll see something, but you said look at business owners versus people that work at companies. I don't know those numbers.
Oh, gotcha. Well, it's way bigger. The number, I don't know the numbers offhand either, but I can tell you there's way more people that collect a paycheck than people paying them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? That's the whole point of that. There's only a few, and who would you rather be? You'd probably rather be the one paying them than the one getting the paycheck. Because the ones getting the paycheck, they're getting paid to do a job that's repetitive over and over and over. And yeah, they're great at it. They know how to do it. And that's why they're getting paid to do it. But they're put in a box and they probably will never get out of that box.
Also, they're accepting that they are worth X amount per hour or project or whatever. Whereas a business owner, you're worth, in the business owner sense, whatever your business is worth. Like everybody talks about Elon being Tesla, most richest, whatever. But all of his money is in the companies, but the companies are worth that, right?
Yeah, you're
so that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. As a business owner, you're limitless. Truly limitless. All right, Tom, come on out. You just have to unmute.
That always helps when I unmute. I never get an answer when I forget to unmute. John, I have a question about the Ignite program.
Okay.
So when they say they're giving you access to the Go High Level, their version of it, okay? Because I'm familiar with their own branding of their white label version. Does that mean we can use that as our CRM for our customers or just as our CRM for ourselves? And there is a distinction there.
Yes, I'm not sure which version that they're giving you, but you are correct whatever version of Go High Level you've got, you can upgrade that to what's called their agency version.
Right. Okay. But that's my point. So I had it and I let it go for the longest time, and I was going to go, 'cause, I'm still playing the CRM. I'm spinning the CRM plates up and down the stage here, trying to figure out where I want to go. And I was about to jump on with your what you're saying. Then this last week, that this whole Ignite thing came up, and I just remember specifically sometimes when you get someone else's white label version of Go High Level, again, I could use it for my John Limbacher project, but I can't use it as my agency. And truth
Yeah,
be told, I've been emailing them all week, and because they don't answer my emails, I'm emailing them 3 times a day, and I still haven't got a response from them. So I just wonder if you knew.
yeah,
So
I would assume that it is the version for you, not an agency version.
okay,
That would be and what email are you hitting to get them? Is it
I
support?
am the one on the well, the one. Which one am I using? I think whatever one was on their landing page. At the bottom here.
Try support at ignitemastermind.org.
Okay, got it. Support. Ignite. Okay,
Because
Ignite Mastermind.
I
Okay.
know that one, they get back on that one pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm using now that I'm looking. I'm using the Perry Belcher personal at gmail.com. Tell him John Limbacher sent me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that everybody sends to that one, but just the Ignite members go to that other one that I just gave
Okay,
you.
support ignitemastermind.com.
.org.
.org. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal program. I was on listening to him yesterday, and Perry was doing a thing on basically AI
Uh-huh.
and creating bots. And it was basically he was showing you how to build a Becky bot using Chat GPT. And it was like it was blowing people's minds what they could do with it. And the fact that he was showing them how to do it manually, I was just kind of cringing at him, like, oh, geez, they should just buy the Build a Becky software and get over it because it would cut their learning curve like down to nothing. But where he absolutely just smoked me was on the part where you're training the AI of who Becky is. And I basically asked for a copy of what he just created because he did the prompt and he did this on for of all things somebody that cooks sourdough bread. It was like a sourdough bread baker, and he told the chat who she was. He made up a name for her, and he was like going through, here's your history, here's how you got to be this bread baker, and family stuff and trials and tribulations that she'd gone through, and like things that her grandmother had told her. And he was basically building this entity of this person in this prompt. It was absolutely amazing. And
It,
because he built that prompt that way, and that bot now was on that core of that prompt. So when she would respond in this country girl manner that I swear to God, you could not tell this wasn't a real person communicating with you. It was amazing.
our experience, it's funny, and you're 100% correct how they say, 80% of businesses aren't using, and the 20% that are have no clue. In other words, the average person will say, well, write me a sales script for how to sell a Jeep Grand Cherokee. That's but the true prompt, because we have used that, we want you to make like your 25 to 35-year-old male out of Brooklyn, New York, with a New York mindset, who's a fan of the Sopranos, who sells cars. And that prompts 2 pages. But that's a big difference from saying, would you write me a sales page on how to sell a Jeep Grand Cherokee? And
Oh
it's
yeah.
phenomenal. And it's really, you think you're talking to some half wise guy out of Brooklyn, but it resonates to the marketplace, and it's good stuff. It's very, very good. You just have to have the patience for the prompts, and those prompts are complicated themselves.
Yeah. If you want to see, like, does anybody want to see Perry do this live?
Yes.
He's going to do this Sunday. And I'm putting a link in the chat for everybody. And you can sign up for his free webinar he's going to do on Sunday, and he's going to walk through this process again. And it is so worthwhile to watch that. And you'll see, like, if you haven't ever seen Perry, you'll get to see like a little sampling of how he is, how he teaches. He's absolutely brilliant. And he is a master at getting other people to do all of his stuff. He's got programmers building stuff, and so this mastermind group is basically about building 10 or 12 pieces of software that are $1 million base software for businesses. And that's what the whole mastermind group is about. And again, I'm not meaning to be here to pitch it, but I can tell you he's limiting the initial founders group, and the founders are going to get a lot of stuff. The founders are going to get the ability to promote the program and get 50% affiliate fees ongoing forever. They're going to get a lot of perks from being a founding member, and that's going to expire, I believe, in May, when he does the next AI Bot Summit in Las Vegas. So that will be the last opportunity to get into this group as a founding member at the price that it's at now. And
What is the price?
the price is I think it's $29.97.
Oh, okay.
And
Hey, John, do you know if he's going to be getting, or yourself for that matter? I know you have your Build It Becky. Are you getting into any of the audio versions of this? Or do you know if they are?
I know they're getting into all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
I'm looking at a few like pre-framed software pieces that I can do a lot more functionality than the Build a Becky one.
Right.
And it's just a matter of like, how much time do I have to dedicate to this stuff?
Yeah. No, I guess because the chat is phenomenal. We love Build a Becky. It's phenomenal. But then the audio seems to be making a big push. The actual
Yes.
voices, they're making
Yeah.
big pushes in many verticals, and they're phenomenal. You know, and I can see what you're saying. Going back to your prompts, I'll give you an example. We were testing some bots, and I think their limitations were, that's why they'll often say, "Oh, that's a great question." It gives the bot a chance to search for a second, you know.
Yeah.
And a part of my language here. So, but the vast, its knowledge base gets larger and larger. So we were testing one the other day, and it just asked me, well, you know, why would you use our marketing service? This is just a test. And part of my language here, and I said, well, quite frankly, he said, well, why don't people sign up with you today? And I said, well, quite frankly, you know, a lot of people think I'm an a-hole, an asshole. And the bot said to me, says, well, everybody could be an asshole once in a while. And I said, whoa, that caught me off guard. And then I said, well, what about tomorrow? I said, well, tomorrow I'm busy. I'll be watching a hockey game. And he says, oh, yeah, I'm a hockey fan, too. You're from New Jersey. You must be a Devils fan. That freaked me out. That's 3 levels deep over and above a bot, you know, those. So that's how crazy these things are getting, the knowledge base. It's so I agree. It's all in the prompting and the knowledge that's given to the bot, I guess.
Yeah, I just put also the link in there. If any of you guys are interested in the Ignite thing, the Ignite Mastermind, the link is right in the chat now. It's internetdominators.com/ignite. Another thing that you get with us is you get access to all of not only his live events, but all his recorded events and all of his live stream events.
Oh,
And
I see 3 chats there.
and he's doing like, I think 10 or 12 of them this year.
He
And
does one every
John,
month.
on that program.
Yeah.
Okay, so the newsletter thing is valuable. Like we're promoting a university, a sales university type. Are there any other highlights in there that you see that? Oh no, Tom. You know, we obviously Go High Level's great. His lectures are great. I know who Perry is. He's got some good stuff there. That newsletter thing is pretty cool. Are there any other things that pop out to you that say, no, Tom, this is a no-brainer. You could really use that?
Yeah, the newsletter thing is big. I really kind of blew it off at first until I saw what they were doing with it, and I'm like, wow, okay, I totally get this. Another one is how to build an association.
Yeah.
That is a no-brainer way to make money in any industry. Another piece of software that they've got is called, I haven't played with it yet. It's called Mintbird. And it's a front end way to get somebody to make a sale or make a purchase rather. So it's an e-commerce type of software. It's not meant to replace your e-commerce or replace your CRM. It's meant to get the first sale and then pass them through into your system. So Mintbird it's supposedly just absolutely phenomenal at closing sales. The other one they've got is I don't know what it's called, but it's a software for doing quizzes. And that is a really good way to get people into your system, is by offering them a quiz for something or a test. Like take a test, like take a business IQ test and see what your odds of going out of business in the next 12 months are. And you could wrap that around AI, take the AI quiz to see, what the odds are of your business surviving without shifting gears into AI. And it creates a quiz around that. The person takes the quiz, and then to get the results, they've got to opt into your email. And then they get the results, and the results, guess what this is? It starts the buying criteria for you to sell them on something. And Ryan Levesque started this with the ask method. Like several years back, he came out with the ask method.
Yeah.
He sold millions of dollars worth of the software. And it's basically the same thing that Perry has recreated and just made it bigger, better, and bolder. So, and again, I don't remember the name of the software that he created. But the other thing, the mastermind group itself, and they do a lot of training. There is a tremendous amount of training dedicated to get you up and running on their stuff, on their software. And the purpose of it right out of the gate is to get you to your first $1 million in sales. Perry knows if he can turn you into a $1 million sales earner, he's going to get you to move up to his $50,000 mastermind per year. And that's what he wants. That's what this is. He's building a bridge to create his ideal customers. That's exactly what he's doing.
So John, to your point, like if you're saying, so the Go High Level is obviously a tool for all of his strategies, if you will. So I imagine whatever we're doing, the appropriate swipe files or sequences would be included in their, I guess, their white label version of Go High Level, I would imagine, right? In other words, they're sequences, correct?
Yeah, they call them something different. They call them snapshots.
Okay, the
in
old
Go High
snapshot,
Level.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Kartra, we call them campaigns. That's another exciting thing I wanted to let you guys know is Daniel on our team is getting close to having the Kartra integration into Acquisitionaire. And once he does, I will be able to build you guys templates in Kartra to do your cold follow-up. And I'm going to do that. So anybody that's in Kartra, I will be giving you guys those. So that is coming quickly. So, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So, but what Perry is doing is absolutely phenomenal. The other thing I wanted to say is when you get that, you get all the software, you get all of his events, including his AI bot summit, which if you haven't been to that, that's an amazing event. And that's coming up in, when is that? That's in April. So that's coming up quick. And that's a $1,000 ticket, which he sells for $497 to early bird. And you actually get access to that in his mastermind. So somebody's asking when it is.
Hey, John, on that note, you mentioned Kartra, and then here's Go High Level. Let's put it this way. I went through a bad divorce with my last CRM, and I'm still recovering. I'm in the process of getting myself engaged into the next one. Is it either or? I mean, two starts, I can't figure out using one, never mind two of them. So, strategy wise, should you jump on with the Perry thing for a while and come back to Kartra, or would the Go High Level suffice? And I don't want to put you in a bad spot because I know you respect both of them, but what the heck?
I would go with whatever you're comfortable with. if, you know, I'll always lean back on that.
Mhm.
I think the capabilities of Kartra versus Go High Level are somewhat similar. There are a few things that I have heard that Go High Level does better than Kartra. And especially when it comes to like the automating of text and robotics.
Okay.
So, but again, it's like whatever works.
Well,
I know-
whatever I'm comfortable with would be to hire somebody to do it all for me because I'm not
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
But
And
anyhow,
that being the case, it doesn't really matter.
okay.
So,
Thank you, John. I appreciate your help.
but yeah, the next AI bot summit is April 22nd to the 24th in Las Vegas. And I will be going to that. So if any of you guys jump in on this and wind up going to that, we'll all hang out in Vegas together. So, cool stuff.
To continue this conversation, what venue does he use?
You mean the place where he holds
Yeah,
the,
where he holds his stuff.
he bounces around? They have a conference center, but this one is
Yeah.
getting bigger than, they've outgrown their own conference center, basically. So the one that they're doing now, it's out off of, it's out closer to Red Rock.
Okay.
So it's out in that section of Vegas. I don't remember the name of the hotel, but it's in that area. If
Yeah.
you do wind up signing up, they'll send you, they've got a hotel block and they'll send you all the information right away.
Yeah, I'm looking for an excuse for Uncle Sam to pay for some Vegas trips.
Oh, well,
So,
there you go. They're doing
and
a
I'm going
bunch
to
of them.
be there the week before, no, the week after his bot summit.
Oh,
So I
well,
might
see,
have to
that's
fly in twice
that's a reason to just go early and hang out.
for a week and a half in Vegas. Oh man, I don't have that kind of bandwidth.
I'd be dead if I was out in Vegas for a week.
I know, me too.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
only
my hubby will
good-
stay Vegas forever. He loves Vegas. Every year he goes once, and 1 week is nothing for him.
I'm only good for about 4 or 5 days there.
You know, 3 is more like it.
If you wanna really enjoy Las Vegas, don't go anywhere near the strips or the gambling areas. There's a whole nother world out there that
Oh,
doesn't involve bright lights and gambling, and it's a really interesting area.
Yeah. No, it's cool. And for those of you that don't want to go to Vegas, I know there's a lot of people that are just like, oh God, no, I'm not going to Vegas. He does live stream the events, so you could watch them from home. And I'm actually considering doing a couple of them during this next year on the boat for the people that are local. And we'll just get together, we'll watch it on the boat, we'll live stream it and talk about it and do that kind of stuff. So
And once again, John, as a member, that would be that is if we're watching it streaming, is that that's complimentary to us if we're a member, or would you
yes.
have to pay? Yeah, okay.
Now, once you're in here, everything, you get access to everything. So it's really an amazing deal he put together. When I first
Do we get a
saw-
credit for all the programs that we've bought from him?
I don't know if he'll go that far. But you do get, like, if you get in before the bot summit, you'll get the bot summit for free. And also you'll get to be one of the founding members. So if you refer it to anybody, like all you got to do is refer this to 2 people and your ride's free. Because it's a 50% commission. And odds of knowing somebody that could use this is pretty high. You know, or for you, Teresa, odds of you knowing somebody that could use a $3,000 tax write-off, pretty good odds, and that would get yours for free.
Yep, I
So,
do know. And I also think that my particular expertise could be very valuable to people in this group.
oh yeah, because I got to tell you, even though this is posed as a beginner group, there's some pretty high level people in this
Yeah.
mastermind. And
You know,
they just don't want to pony up the 50 grand to get, access to his one called Driven, which I got to tell you, the amount of time that he is giving to the people in this mastermind is probably way in excess of what you get in the $50,000 mastermind. You know, it's just a much smaller group. So, but
How many people that you know of are already in the group?
well, I know on the Zoom calls, there's, what is there? There's 30 on a screen, and it's about 3 or 4 screens wide.
Okay.
So that's how many is showing up on the calls, and it's all new and fresh. I think he's got a pretty high
Sure.
attendance rate on those calls. So
Cool.
I would say he's got
John,
a couple hundred
is
people.
this
you,
the
John.
is this the mastermind you were talking about like a month ago? That
Yes.
you okay, great. Thank
Yep.
you. I missed last week, so I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I've got the link in there, the internetdominators.com/ignite. That's the link to get into that mastermind group.
Yeah, I saw the email and I wanted to just clarify that that was what you were talking about a while
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, it really is an amazing thing he's put together. I wish I had more time, honestly. Like, if I was just starting out and I didn't have like access to Acquisition Air and, you know, some of the other stuff I have access to, if I was just starting out and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do,
Oops.
chances are I would highly likely grab onto one of his things and get all the sales training on it, and I would build $1 million business off it. You know, and that's kind of what I'm giving you guys as a one-off with Acquisition Air. There's no reason you couldn't build $1 million business out of that. You know, the only thing that Perry kind of has a level up on me is he is an amazing sales trainer. Like, I'm pretty good at training you on systems and processes and the recipes of ACT, which is marketing. But you know, he just got a whole nother level up on selling stuff, especially into social media. I have no experience selling into social media. And Perry and his guys, they've got some, I've watched some of these and I'm like, oh shit, I could totally see how that would work. Whereas before, I just kind of steered clear of social media because I didn't know how to make it work. I couldn't see through the forest to see the tree at the other end. So he's got some really good stuff. So hell, if nothing else, you know, you could probably learn how to sell the holy bejesus out of Acquisition Air by going through his training.
That's what I was thinking.
And use some of the products, you know, that he's got, like the quiz software. Absolutely amazing. That to get leads for you to sell something, or even if you're doing cold emails. You know, if you're doing cold emails to somebody, why not throw them on a newsletter that's something they're interested in and let the Letterman software create that for you, all automated? Why not use the quiz software to give them a quiz to take an action on, you know, to grab their attention and suck them into the process, into the sales process? Everything that Perry is building is all about conversion. Every piece of software, every piece of training, it's 100% about conversion. And that's what makes sales. That's what makes the world go around. So there's nothing bad I would say about that. And, you know, any of you guys that do wind up going into it, you know, I'll go to party in Vegas every month. or on the boat, do the private training, whatever works out. So pretty cool stuff. All right. Anything else? Do we have all our questions answered for this week? I know some of you, I'll be seeing some of you here in a short time on our crypto call, going into that, the phenomenal world of cryptocurrencies. That's going to be a life-changing experience over this next year. Almost certain of it. All right. So anything else before we wrap up for today? I think we covered some good ground here.
I'm good. Thanks, John.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
All
John.
right.
That was great.
Okay, guys, well, have a great week and we'll be back on next week and we'll see you then.
All
See you
ashore that's
later.
going ashore.